Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Life's Playbook podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is season 5 episode. Today we're going to be putting our NFL GM caps on once again. We're going to be giving you guys the long-awaited all-time version of building our ideal NFL teams. We're going to be going through every single position, both sides of the football. So bear with us. This is going to be a long episode. It's going to be a long episode, but bear with us as we power through this. With that being said, for those of you who are new to the show, I'm your host, Quinn Jackson. I'm joined today by my co-host, Noah Hawley, and we're going to be building our ideal all-time team. Last episode, I gave my current team. This is the all-time version. All-time players only, with the exception of Pat Mahomes, Matt Stafford, and Travis Kelce. They will be included in this as well, since they pretty much have all-time resumes. With that being said, let's dive into today's episode. Before we get started with today's episode, make sure to download Prize Picks, most elite sports fantasy app. Let's talk about it. Starting with our rules and stipulations. The easiest, most clear-cut rule number 1 is we're not allowed to have the same players on the same team. So if somebody snags a player from the other, that person might get cooked. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, regarding the offensive line, we are just taking the team's O-line in general. We are not going to go through each individual position. That would take too much time. So we're just going to take the team's offensive line in general. Again, rule number 3, with the wide receivers. Last episode, when I did the current version, I did true wide receiver 1, 2, and 3. This version, we're not going to do that. We're just going to have wide receiver 1, 2, and 3, but they're not going to be true 1, 2, and 3. So, those are the rules again. Mahomes, Kelce, and Matt Stafford are all viable here, as they are pretty much they pretty much have all-time careers already. Let's get to building our team, starting with the offensive side of the ball. We got to start with the head coach. We're going to pick a current head coach coaching today to coach our team. Noah, who are you rocking with to coach your team?
So yeah, coach-wise, I will be rocking with the guy who does have a Super Bowl win already. They have not been to the Super Bowl since 2022, but yet they haven't had a losing season either in the past years he's been there. And with that said, I will be taking Sean McVay at the head coach position.
Right, and with that being said, I will be taking Kyle Shanahan, head coach of the Niners, and division rival Sean McVay. Both solid picks. Sean McVay is definitely a coach I would have gone after as well. But Kyle Shanahan is just as good. He has proven he can bring teams to the Super Bowl. Whether he wins them or not is a different story. But he's capable of coaching a team to the Super Bowl. He's going to coach my team to the Super Bowl. So that brings us to QB1, and we're only going to have one quarterback. We're not going to have a quarterback 2 or 3. We're just going to have one quarterback to lead the team. Noah, who are you picking at the quarterback position to lead your offense?
So yeah, probably one of my most favorite quarterbacks who's ever played the game of football. I guess you could say I grew up with him. I don't know. He kind of retired after. No, I think he retired 2 years ago. But he does not have a Super Bowl, but he does have a Super Bowl appearance, and we all know how it went. I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Superman Cam Newton. I'll be taking him to be my quarterback and lead my offense.
Working with the guy who had a lot of potential to be a Hall of Fame level guy, a lot of potential as a prospect, and when he played, I think he gave us like eight or seven seasons in the league. He showed lots of flashes of being a Hall of Fame level guy, but injuries just tore this man to shreds. So unfortunately, he had to retire early. I'm talking about Colts legend Andrew Luck. Picking Andrew Luck to lead my team. Dude could have won many Super Bowls in his time, but injuries just tore him up, and he had to retire early, as we all know. But the team that I'm going to make for him, he won't have to worry about getting injured anymore, because he's going to have a very solid team. But that's what I'm rocking with at my quarterback, which brings us to RB1 and RB2. We will have 2 running backs, and Personally, I will be running a fullback, but if you choose not to, Noah, you don't have to. But I will be running a fullback. That brings us to RB1. Who who do you have starting in your backfield, Noah?
So yeah, this guy is a Detroit legend, probably one of the most elusive backs of all time. Sad that his career was so short, but I'm talking about Barry Sanders. I'll be having Barry Sanders at my running back one position.
That's a very solid pick right there, Barry Sanders. He actually was one of the guys I had on my mind, but now he's off the board, so I got a rebound. And what better rebound to take than Cowboys legend Emmitt Smith? Easily the GOAT Cowboys running back. He's going to be the GOAT on my team in the backfield because I'm picking him. Not much to say about that, brother. That brings us to RB2. Noah, who are you rocking with to be your RB?
So at my running back, at my RB2 position, I'm bouncing between two guys. I'm probably going to pick up this other guy at the fullback position, but for RB2, I will be taking Adrian Peterson. Honestly, in my opinion, he's a great power back, and he'll do a lot of great things on third downs and goal line situations. So I'll take him at the RB2 position.
But for me, for my RB2, I'm going to be taking a man that had a very short-lived prime. Unfortunately, he did not win a Super Bowl in 2018 with the Rams. He ran into Brady, but this dude had a very short-lived prime. He's not going to have a short-lived prime on my team. I'm taking prime Todd Gurley to be my RB. I'm taking prime Todd Gurley to be my RB2. Young Bloods, you don't know who Todd Gurley is, watch his highlights. The dude is a beast. But I'm taking prime Todd Gurley to be my RB2. Which brings us to our fullbacks, since we have both elected to run a fullback. Noah, who are you running with at your fullback position?
So at my fullback position, kind of more of a current guy, but I do believe he hasn't been really current as of recently. He has a Super Bowl. He won it in Tampa Bay. I will be taking Leonard Fournette at my fullback position.
Leonard Fournette. That's an interesting one right there. But with all due respect, there were better options out there. And I'm picking up one of them right now. And his name is Tampa Bay legend Mike Allstott. I'm taking Mike Allstott to be my fullback. If y'all don't know who he is, watch his highlights. That dude is a beast. He is the Marshawn Lynch of fullbacks. I'm taking Mike Allstott to be my fullback. Tampa Bay legend. With that being said, that brings us to the O-line. Again, we're not going through each individual position. I'm just going to take the team's O-line in general. So, I'll go first on that because I have a perfect offensive line to pick here. I'm going with the best Patriots offensive line in Patriots history, second to the 07 offensive line. Give me the 16 Patriots offensive line. Strong, powerful. Andrew Luck does not have to worry about no type of pressure with this offensive line. Give me the 16 Patriots offensive line.
That's not a bad pick at all. But I do feel my pick is a little better. We've seen it in this past Super Bowl with the Eagles. So with my pick, I will be taking the 2024-2025 season Eagles offensive line. They have the size and the strength, and my run game is about to go stupid with those blockers.
Solid O-line right there. Solid O-line. Let us know in the comments down below which O-line is better. 16 Patriots O-line or the 2024 Eagles O-line. But that brings us to the skill group. Tight end one, only having one tight end, and our three wide receivers. That brings us to the skill group. Let's start with the wide receiver one. Noah, who are you rocking with to be your wide receiver one?
I will be taking another Detroit legend at my wide receiver one, Megatron. He got the size, and he's able to track that ball real well, and he's going to be a great asset for Cam Newton.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting defensive side of the ball, trying to find a secondary to cover Megatron. That's a very strong pick right there. But with all due respect, I think my wide receiver one is arguably leaps and bounds ahead of Megatron. At least he was on pace to be. Give me prime Antonio Brown to be my wide receiver. Yes, y'all, I'm taking prime AB, and I do believe he could have been the best wide receiver of all time if he didn't get his head cracked. Say what you want about the CTE and the current charge that he is on right now, but when he was on the field, dude could have been the best wide receiver of all time. But since this is Prime AB, we don't have to worry about the CTE. We don't have to worry about that. Give me Prime AB to be my wide receiver one. Let us know in the comments down below if you think Prime AB is actually leaps and bounds ahead of Megatron. That brings us to wide receiver two. Noah, who are you rocking with to be a wide receiver two?
So for my wide receiver two, there's still a ton of great receivers on the board, but I feel that this guy fits my team pretty well. I will be taking Chad Ochocinco, one of the best players to ever come out of Cincinnati, at my wide receiver two position.
Chad Ochocinco to be a wide receiver two. Well, that's a flashy wide receiver two move right there. That dude is a highlight reel. Having said that, for my wide receiver two, I'm going with Broncos legend Demaryius Thomas. I'm going with Broncos legend Demaryius Thomas. If y'all don't know who he is, watch his highlights, because that dude was a demon. He was definitely a demon in the Peyton Manning era. He's going to be a demon on my squad, so he's going to be my wide receiver two. Which brings us to wide receiver three before we move to our singular tight end. Noah, who do you got at your wide receiver?
So at my wide receiver three, this is where he's undersized, but he makes up for it because he can break out of tackles really easy. He played with the Panthers and he played with the Ravens. I'm talking about Steve Smith. He's going to get into cornerbacks' heads all game, and he's going to be able to make plays, break tackles, and find his way in the end zone. So I have him at my wide receiver three position, and there's a little chemistry there with him and Kim.
Chemistry move right there. Something I'm going to have to think about. But for my wide receiver three, this guy is also a Colt. Did not play in the Andrew Luck era, though, however. He's got a Super Bowl under his belt. His son, believe it or not, is playing in the league right now. That man's name is Marvin Harrison Sr. Marvin Harrison Sr., I am rocking with to be my wide receiver three. Dude's got great hands. Kind of slept on all-time wide receiver, if you ask me. Kind of slept on all-time wide receiver. Hopefully his son can have a career just as good as his, if not better. But we'll see. So I got Marvin Harrison Sr. to be my wide receiver three. Having said that, that brings us to tight end before we move over to the defensive side of the football. Noah, who's going to be your tight end one?
I will be taking, okay.
This guy.
Denver Broncos legend. He's known for his trash talk on his podcast and everything. And, there's a little chemistry between him and Chad Ochocinco. Hey, they're going to cause a lot of problems for whatever defense they're going against. And I'm talking about Shannon Sharp. That guy has 3 Super Bowls under his belt, and he's just an all-time great. So I will be taking him at my tight end position.
Shannon Sharp. Unk. We're rocking with Unk at your tight end one. It's a very solid tight end pick. But you left the most basic pick on the table in Rob Gronkowski, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go basic here. I'm going to take the greatest tight end of all time in Rob. I need a tight end that can do all the traditional tight end things. Block, run routes, catch. Gronk can do all those things too. So I'm going to go basic here and take Rob Gronkowski to be my tight end. Having said that, that brings us to the defensive side of the ball. Before we move on to the defensive side of the ball, we're going to give you guys our quick offensive recap. Start first with my offensive recap. At my quarterback position, I have Andrew Luck. For my RB1, I have Emmitt Smith. For my RB2, I have Prime Todd Gurley. For my fullback, I have Tampa Bay legend Mike Alstott. For my offensive line, I have the 2016 Patriots O-line. Paired up with Prime AB at the 1, Demaryius Thomas, Broncos legend at the 2, Marvin Harrison Sr. at the 3, and to cap off my skill, I have Gronk to be my tight end 1. So that is those are all of my offensive picks. That is my offense in general, coached by Kyle Shanahan.
Before I cover my team, I do have a question. My fullback position, you're kind of right. It's kind of dumb. I'd kind of like to cut that guy and pick up a free agent that's still out there on the board.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay? So I will be cutting Leonard Fournette and adding Bo Jackson as my fullback. I low-key forgot about that guy, but I will put him at the fullback position. So now to cover my whole team, so far head coach is Sean McVay. Quarterback is Cam Newton. Running back 1 is Barry Sanders. RB2 Adrian Peterson. Fullback now is Bo Jackson. Then at wide receiver 1, I have Megatron. Wide receiver 2, Chad Ochocinco. Wide receiver 3, Steve Smith. And then the O-line, the 2024-2025 season, Philadelphia Eagles. Then at the tight end is Shannon Sharp. That's my team so far.
Well, let us know in the comments down below whose offensive lineup is better, Noah's or mine. We got to move on to the defensive side of football. And depending on formations, some may have 4 down linemen, some may have 3. Me personally, I'm rocking with the 3-3-2, 3 DBs, 2 safeties, 3 linebackers, and 3 down linemen. We are going to go through each individual position on the defensive line, unlike the offensive line. So, that is my formation that I am rocking with. Noah, what formation are you rocking with defensively?
I will be rocking a 4-3. So 4 down, 3 backs.
All right, let's kick things off with the edge. We're going to start things off on the defensive line. I'm going to kick things off first on the edge. Kind of thin out there, if I'm being honest. Not a whole lot of all-time edges, if I'm being honest, that I personally know. Yes, y'all can slight me for that, but I'm going with a more recent pick. I know this guy is technically still playing, but he's built up a big enough resume that I'm going to include him on my team. And although he is a Pittsburgh Steeler, can't deny that he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. So, give me TJ Watt to be my edge. Sometimes he's an edge, sometimes he's classified as a linebacker, but for this case, I'm going to use him as an edge here. So give me TJ Watt to be my left edge.
I will be taking, at my defensive end, I will be taking the brother to TJ Watt. I will be taking JJ Watt.
Well, that is a solid pick right there. Solid pick right there. With that being said, that brings me to my D tackle, and there's a lot of good options out there. But there's one clear-cut and obvious D tackle that needs to get picked up right now. This guy is a Rams legend. He is forever going to be cemented as the best. I personally think he's the best defensive player in general of all time, but he's definitely cemented as the best D tackle of all time. He's got his Super Bowl with the Rams in 21. I'm taking Aaron Donald to be my defensive tackle. I'm taking him off. Aaron Donald, come home, brother. Come on, brother. We're going to get you one more Super Bowl.
He kind of took my pick at the defensive tackle position. So I will take, at my first, next to J.J. Watt, I will be taking Warren Sapp on the left side of my defensive line.
That's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick at all. Not bad. With all due respect, though. That brings me to my final down lineman. A lot of good options out there. But for me, I'm going to go way back old school. Way back old school. A lot of y'all probably aren't even going to know who this brother is unless you are a actual diehard Steelers fan. But I remember this guy because I did it way back. I'm talking way back, like when I was in middle school, way back. I did a project on this man. But I'm going to go old school and go with Mean Joe Green, Pittsburgh Steeler legend, at my final defensive position. Now, I know a lot of the new gen watchers are not going to know who this dude is. Y'all check out his whatever film is out there on him. He is a monster. He was a monster then. He's going to be a monster now. So I'm going to go real old school and take Mean Joe Green to be my final down lineman. Y'all watch whatever film is out there on him, and y'all will see what I see. Before y'all call me crazy.
You know, that was my other pick. You know, did a lot of updating to my list yesterday. Okay, so instead, at my other defensive tackle position, I know this guy primarily plays defensive end, but we've seen him played a couple times defensive tackle. He's still current, but he is for sure a Hall of Famer, and I am talking about Myles Garrett on the inside at the defensive tackle.
That's a solid pick right there. But having said that, you have one more defensive lineman to pick. I'm going to let you pick that before we move on to the linebackers.
So yeah, at my right defensive end, next to Myles Garrett, I have Reggie White to cap off my defensive line.
Right, that's not a bad defensive line. That's not a bad defensive line at all. That brings us to the linebacking core. Now, I had to do a lot of revitalizing and a lot of updating myself on my linebacking core from yesterday. So now we locked in this time. For my left outside linebacker. That could have also been TJ, but I moved him down the edge. So for my left outside linebacker, I'm going to go with the guy who, in his prime, was a beast. He was a beast in his prime. Y'all may have forgotten his production in his prime. I'm going to go with, I believe, Seattle legend, because I believe that's where he spent a majority of his career. I'm going to go with prime Jamal Adams to be my first left linebacker. I'm going to go with prime Jamal Adams. Let me know in the comments down below if he spent a majority of his career with the Jets or the Seahawks, but I'm pretty sure the Seahawks.
You knew what my picks were, man. You could have took my picks off the board, but at my left outside linebacker, I will be taking Ray Lewis to start that off. Leading defense, Ravens legend right there.
I probably should have taken Ray Lewis, but I had to lock in. I had to revitalize. my linebacking core. It brings me to my middle linebacker. This guy, to go alongside prime Jamal Adams, was also a beast. This guy is a heavy hitter. Definitely a heavy hitter for sure. RIP to this man as well. But give me Bears legend, Brian Urlacher, to be my middle inside linebacker. Give me Brian Urlacher.
Again, my picks, man. At my middle linebacker position, I will be taking Luke Kuechly from the Carolina Panthers. Before this guy retired, he showed signs of being a Hall of Famer. He led that Carolina defense. He's just a pure dog. He hits hard. He moves fast.
All right. That's a solid pick right there. Yet again, your linebacking core, I ain't gonna lie, is shaping up to be better than mine. But I will say, the linebacking core I got right now is looking way better than yesterday. That being said, that brings us to our last. Yesterday was an atrocity, but that brings us to our last linebackers. Our right linebackers, where things kind of get thin. But for my final linebacker, I'm going to go with the guy is also. I'm pretty sure he played linebacker as well. Correct me if I'm wrong if he did not. I'm going to go with another Bears legend in Dick Butkus. Be my final linebacker. Correct me if I'm wrong if he played defensive line or linebacker, but I'm pretty sure he was also a linebacker as well. So give me Bears legend Dick Butkus to round out my linebacking core.
For me, I would be taking New York Giants legend Lawrence Taylor. I do believe he's with the Giants. Yeah, Lawrence Taylor at my right outside linebacker position.
Yikes. That's going to be a lethal linebacking core. Lethal linebacking. So lie, you might have a better linebacking core than me, but at least mine is definitely way better than how it looked yesterday. I'll say that. But that brings us to the secondary. I'm rocking with 3 DBs and 2 safeties. So this is going to get interesting. Let's start with our cornerback 1. Be your cornerback 1.
Cornerback, not quarterback, my bad. At cornerback 1, obvious pick, I am taking prime time Deion Sanders.
Yikes. All right. Arguably the best corner of all time. It's going to be hard to try to top that. But I'm going to go with another obvious pick here. I'm going with the man that's got a literal island named after himself. I'm going with Jets legend Darrelle Revis. Be my primary corner. It's going to be my cornerback 1. Darrelle Revis. Come home, brother. Come home, brother. that brings us
Not a
to.
bad pick.
You're telling me it ain't a bad pick. My secondary, we gonna be focused more on the lockdown than the hitting. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But that brings us to the cornerback two, and I'll go first on the cornerback two. This could be a sleeper pick compared to the other options that are out there. And this guy, I believe, does not have a championship. Give me Broncos legend, Champ Bailey, to be my cornerback two. Champ Bailey, come home, brother. You're gonna be my second lockdown corner. Could be a sleeper pick because there were better options out there. But I'm going with Champ Bailey, my second DB.
I'll be honest, my cornerback too. I only know this guy because of Madden 20. I only know this guy because of Madden, bro. Older guy. I will be taking Night Train Lane at my quarterback two position.
Yeah, time to brush the dust off them shoulder pads. Yeah, went real old school with that. That's going to be it. Brings us to cornerback three. Cornerback three. Now, luckily, you left one of the two guys that I had in mind on the board, and one of them could still be on the board when we get to safety because he played a little bit of safety. But if he's not, that's okay. I have a backup pick. But anyways, I need a hard hitter in my secondary, and what better hard hitter than Eagles legend Weapon X? Weapon X.
That guy played safety.
Is gonna.
He played safety. He played safety. No, go ahead. You can put him at quarterback. You know, that's who I was gonna pick, bro. That's who I was gonna pick.
See, I knew. I was getting.
Yeah.
I knew I was getting mixed up with. I was getting it mixed. I was getting it mixed up with him and Ed Reed. Because I was like, I knew one of them played safety or was like in and out. Give me Weapon X. I need a hard hitter. Give me Weapon X to be my cornerback.
I guess I'll lead it off with the safeties then, since you took my strong safety, dog.
All right.
It's okay
All
though.
right.
I will be taking Ronnie Lott at my strong safety position, and hopefully you do not take my free safety because then I'm gonna have to go find another one. But it's okay. Ronnie Lott at my strong safety position.
That's gonna be hard to kind of top that. I ain't gonna lie. This is where things kind of get real thin for me when it comes to safeties. Now this guy I might get some flame for, but I need somebody. I need somebody to fill in for my first safety. But give me Kansas City Chief legend, I guess. Give me Kansas City Chief legend Eric Berry. I ain't gonna lie, brother. This is where things kind of get thin for me here. But give me Eric Berry be my safety.
Man, there's a lot better. There's like two other picks you could have took at your safety position, but thank you for letting this guy fall into my hands. I was hoping you weren't going to pick him, but at my free safety position, I have Redskins legend. You know, sadly his career was cut short due to a home invasion. You know, we didn't get to see how great this guy could have been, but while he was in the NFL, while he was still, you know, here with us, he was doing great things for the Redskins. And I'm talking about Redskins legend Sean Taylor at my free safety position.
All right, now that's not a bad pick, but I just remembered there's one safety on the board.
Troy Polamalu?
No, not Troy. Even though that is a good, I probably should have picked him to be my safety. But there is one guy that you left on the board that I think personally is better than Sean Taylor, and that is the second captain of the Legion of Boom. We all forgot about this, brother. The hardest hitter on the Legion of Boom. Give me Cam Chancellor to be my strong safety. Give me Cam Chancellor to be my strong safety. I almost forgot about this man. This man done saved my secondary. But give me Cam Chancellor to be my final safety. We got some heavy hitters on my secondary, and I'm okay with that. I got two lockdown dudes, and Darrell Revis and Champ Bailey. I got two heavy hitters, so I'm all right. I'm chilling right now in the secondary. Having said that, that brings us to the special teams. And then we wrap this up. So let's talk about it. Kicker, kick returner. Who we looking at? Noah, who we looking at to be our all-time kicker?
So for me, I'm going with a current guy. Some going to argue that he's better than Justin Tucker, but some people may disagree with me. Even though he's still current, he's still pretty great. This guy is with the Falcons, and I'm talking about Young Wei Koo at my kicker.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't go with arguably the best kicker of all time in Adam Vinatieri. I'm surprised you didn't go with him, much less Justin Tucker. But he's not bad. Not bad. He's good for the Falcons. I ain't mad at it. I'm personally gonna sweep up Adam Vinatieri, arguably the GOAT kicker of all time. Justin Tucker is probably the only other guy to compete with him. But I'm getting give me that to be my kicker. Brings us to kick returners. I ain't gonna lie, this is where things get thin for me again because there's really only one crystal clear cut dude, and he's probably gonna get taken off the board already. Noah, go ahead. Who do you got to be your?
You know what? You're the host. How about you pick the kick returner?
The clear cut answer is to pick Devin Hester. The clear cut answer is to pick Devin Hester. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna pick a guy that's kind of current. Hold on, I'm gonna pick a guy that's kind of current. This guy he's kind of old. He's got some years in the league. I believe his last team was with the Falcons. Kick return wise, this dude is pretty good. All right, kick return wise, this is pretty good. He occasionally plays running back, but I'm taking him for his kick return ability. Give me Cordero Patterson. I believe he's still on the Falcons right now. Give me Cordero Patterson be my kick returner. Again, as a kick returner, he's actually pretty good. So y'all check out his kick return highlights. But outside of that, he's kind of all right at any other position. But we ain't got to worry about that because I'm picking him to be my kick returner.
Not bad. You should have took Devin Hester. I'm not taking him because I'm set on this guy right here. In the NFL, this guy did not really make a full name for himself. He did bounce around the league, team to team. He didn't really set his foot down in the NFL. But in my opinion, this guy is the best college football kick returner of all time. You may know him from his highlight reel. All right. And I am taking, listen, college, not NFL, college, Tavon Austin to be my kick returner.
That is a very interesting pick right there. College legend, yes, but are you sure you want to pick him for the NFL? I mean, I guess
I said college.
All right. I ain't mad at it because he was a beast. He was a demon. Having said that, those are the all-time teams. My all-time defense, his all-time offense. My all-time offense, his all-time defense. Let us know in the comments down below who had the better defensive lineup as well as the better team overall. And are either one of our teams winning a Super Bowl? With that being said, this has been Season 5, Episode 5 of the Life's Playbook podcast. We will catch you guys for Season 5, Episode 6 on Thursday. With that being said, let us know any positional mistakes that may have been said throughout the video, as well as some sleeper picks that y'all would have recommended on your own team. But anyways, we'll catch you guys Thursday for Season 5, Episode 6 for Life's Playbook podcast. Till then, peace out.